I think we are on.
So, hello everyone. My name is Hajarisa. I'm from Darfur, Sudan, and I'm really happy to be your moderator for this webinar right here. And I would like to thank our executive director, Mr. Kamran Zafar, for having the time to join our webinar this time, and also our two panelists, Mariana and Valentina, for being the panelists for this webinar. Um, I would like to have the chance, first of all, before we start introducing ourselves more, to give the chance to Mr. Kamran Zafar to give us more introduction about the Global Peace Chain.
Thank you so much, Hajar, and thank you, Valentina and Mariana, two of my best friends from Argentina and Colombia, respectively. And thank you for having me again. This is Kamran Zafar, and I am the executive director. It means the CEO and founder of this organization, Global Peace Chain. Global Peace Chain is a co-venture of different youth-led registered organizations from different parts of the world, and we are working for the development of youth, and directly we are engaged in the United Nations SDGs number 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institution. Actually, we are intended to form a very powerful platform of youth which have the real pressure, which can pressurize the decision makers of the world, the policy makers of the world, and we are here to even pressurize the United Nations itself, because we have seen that in many parts of the world, in many cases, United Nations is failed to implement its own resolution. So we are trying our level best to emphasize the importance of these peace resolutions, so that the difference and conflicts among two countries should be resolved in a very peaceful manner. And we are also going to have our petition which says peace by dialogue. If we look back in the history, we came across that in past 100 years we have lost millions of people due to war and destruction. We have lost a number of people in World War I, World War II, and then we have different conflicts between two countries. For example, we have a very strong conflict we can observe between Israel and Palestine. In the same way, we can see that we have very strong conflict between India and Pakistan, between Russia, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and right now we are facing some conflict in the even in the Turkish part, where we are going to have our next event, and Turkey is in conflict with Greece, and let's hope for the best. But we are trying our level best in order to engage the youth from around the world to resolve this issue via technical manner. And we are going to submit a petition by the end of it was planned by the end of this year, but due to COVID, we are now planning to submit our petition by the end of next year to United Nations, which says peace by dialogue. And we believe in dialogue. We believe that whenever there is war between two countries, there is no winner. It is only humanity who loses. So we believe in that thing. We believe that the war cannot generate any conclusion, any victory. So it is only peace through which we can prevail. It is only dialogue through which we can prevail peace among different countries. And that's some kind of brief introduction from Global Peace Chain. And yes, Hajar.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamran, for the information provided. And one more time, I would like to thank you, Valentina and Mariana, for joining and being our panelists for this webinar. And for everyone who's joined us right now, please feel free to leave your questions and inquiries below in the comments, and we will try our best to reply to you. Please bear with us if we were not able to answer all the questions. You still have the chance to provide all the inquiries and the questions into our email. info@globalpeace.org, or also feel free to visit our website www.globalpeacechain.org. This time I'm going to give you the chance to Valentina and Mariana to give us more introduction about themselves, and please also step a little bit more into your interests and so on. So this is now your chance. Feel free.
Thank you, Ajar, and thank you, Kamran, for that introduction. I think that was very insightful, and this is what we do at Global Peace Change, essentially peace by dialogue. I'm a human rights activist from Argentina. I'm a Fulbright scholar. I was studying non-proliferation of weapon and terrorism studies. So I have long been interested in these, in wars and conflicts, and also in youth activism. I right now I'm based in Argentina, working with indigenous people, women's rights, climate change, and everything that comes related to human rights. Since this year, I'm a global peace ambassador, sponsored by this beautiful organization of global peace change, where I met wonderful people, like-minded people that want to bring change to their communities and the whole world.
Oh, that's great. So now it's your chance, please, Mariana, feel free.
Thank you so much here, Valentina and Cameron. Thank you so much for this amazing invitation. I'm Mariana. I'm from Medellin, Colombia, which is a place in Colombia that has a big label of war, of conflict, and that gives me a big responsibility about trying to solve or to understand about how conflicts work. I'm a political scientist, I'm a researcher, and right now I'm doing my master's studies in international security, focused on conflict studies, especially trying to understand how conflicts work. So I am also part of a global peace change. I went to the summit in Kurdistan, and it was one of the best experiences of my life because I really understood that I really had the experience to understand that people that suffer of conflicts, that suffer of war, we all laugh and we all cry in the same language, and the same things that makes us happy or that makes us sad, that makes us feel fear, feel exactly the same even in Colombia, in Kurdistan, or wherever in the world. Right now I'm living in Paris because of my master, and yeah, and trying to contribute in this NGO and so other activities to promote peace.
Well, that's amazing. And as you've already guys mentioned, you've been already a part of the previous Global Peace Change summits. And I'll also take this chance to remind everyone here who's watching us right now to apply for this upcoming Global Peace Change Summit, which is going to be held in Turkey. And the deadline is approaching. The deadline is in the 30th of August. So please don't forget to apply. Don't miss the chance to meet, to share ideas and all the information that you would like, or also to gain the skills that might really help you in the future with and share ideas with people who share the same mind with you. And of course, concentrating on peace and education and other community issues that need to be shed a light on. I would also like to ask you a question, like from your previous experience, you have already mentioned that you participated in Global Peace Change Summits. I myself have also participated before in the one that was held in Ukraine, and it was one of the best experiences that I've ever had. I just would like you to take the chance to express to us what kind of impress, like did it really leave in you, like from the two different experiences that you had within Global Peace Change Summit? Like what was really the benefit that you felt like this is something that was like really gonna help you?
So in my experience, I attended the Global Peace Summit this year that was held in Malaysia. If I have to highlight one component or one key thing that really changed my life was getting to know people from all over the world, especially in those conflict areas. I have been studying wars for a long time, and you know, like in academia, we tend to learn conflict by reading long PDF or long books, but getting to know people who have been, you know, in Yemen, who have been in Syria, in Palestine, in Kashmir, in all those complicated places of the world, and getting to know their perspective, I think is the most valuable lesson that I can get from this experience. Also, it was very inspiring to see how all young people with all the cultural differences, they speak the same language in terms of, for example, the sustainable development goals. It doesn't matter if it is in Salta, in my hometown in Argentina, or if it is in India, in Pakistan, or wherever. There are young people like trying to working really hard to bring change, and this type of gathering like the Peace Summit brings all those people together. So it's like an energy shot, let's say, for those activists that are really committed to social change. So in that sense, for me, human connections and the great network and friends, because most of them, then become great friends, is so valuable to me.
That's amazing. Really great. Amazing. Now it's your chance, please, Mariana.
Yeah, I completely feel what Valentina just said, because for me it was exactly the same experience, just like having the opportunity to meet people that completely believe the same as you, trying to understand why it's so difficult to hear each other, to create empathy between different stories. And also for me it was pretty important, the possibility of uh, having like knowing the territory where something is going on. It was one of my dreams, and I think that through Global Peace Chain I had the opportunity to went to a place that in other situation it wouldn't be possible to be. So being there, listening to the people, see how people live there, and why some things are very important, because as Valentina said, like you can read a lot of stuff about, for example, my country, but it's not what people live in their daily lives. So having the opportunity to see how really the daily life of people works, and their own histories, not only about the place where we were, but also from every region of the world where people were, was pretty like crazy, amazing, and of course creating a bridge of understanding, and also of trust, and of friendship. I think it's the way to think in a peaceful world.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, of course, I totally agree with both of you. That could be like one of the ways in which we would also, like meet people from different countries, and then also within like talking and discussing would also reflect our cultures in a different way. That might people also, like you mentioned, people would think about it in a different way. But then when you really experience it with a person from the same country, then you will see it in a different view, which is completely amazing. I've also been to Ukraine, but then I didn't have the chance to meet either Mr. Kamran Zafar or Mr. Mohammed. I mean, it was just a kind of different timing, but yeah, hopefully we'll meet soon. And I also would like to say, for example, the language part, as you've already mentioned. The communication is known, like it's very important in everything. I mean, in everyday life. So knowing that English is like the language, do you think there's like any language barrier that would have faced or faced anybody else? Is it like a really important like aspect in the summit from your experience?
Like, even though we communicated in English because that was the official language of the summit, like the speakers and everything, I met people with so different levels of English that I don't think is like absolutely essential to have like the highest level of English skills, like having said all these exams and everything. As long as you have a working knowledge of English and you can get to understand the panelists or interact, I think that's fine. It's not, don't worry too much if your level of English is not the top of the top, because you can still communicate with people. And it's impressive when you go there and you see, besides English, you see the same language in terms of activism, like peace, equality. There is a lot like of general ideas that people understand. For instance, I remember like meeting with a girl from Kurdistan, and she didn't speak English like fluently, but we still had a communication. We had people around from different countries that kind of connect each other, and still we were both together, rooting for women equality, women's right. It was absolutely amazing.
I
Amazing.
totally agree. I totally agree with Valentina. It's not necessary. I think we don't have to create boundaries. We are not all like native speakers of English. It's just, and that's perfectly fine. Like if you can express your ideas, if you can uh, understand what the other people are trying to tell you, and especially if you have the capability of create empathy between people, that's enough. Like as I was saying, the language of a smile, the language of a good, I don't know how to say this, like to see each other to their eyes, it's enough to create boundaries of peace. So I think it's, if you can communicate some words, I wouldn't say that there is a big deal to attend to the summit. So it's fine. It's fine. You can, and also people understand that. Of course, we come from a different regions of the world, so it doesn't have to be all native speakers.
Okay, that's great. So, Mr. Cameron, I
So
would like to give you a chance to also express your opinion about
yeah,
the English part.
yeah, here I will also share the perspective from headquarter, I mean from the selection team. So
Yes.
technically we don't give a damn to the speaking skill of English. Yeah, it is a plus point that if you can communicate in English, but I remember one thing, English is just a language, not the scale to judge any person's capability. So let me be very clear that if you are not that much fluent in English, you can still apply and you can still be the part of our summit. For example, I'm going to give you a very competent example. In Global Peace Summit Johannesburg, we had one of our delegate. She was from Brazil, and she couldn't speak English at all. And she was even unable to understand the bigger amount of language. And but at the same time, we had our another Brazilian member, which was also from Brazil, and he can speak Brazil as well at the same time and English. So he was acting like a moderator, and he was acting like a translator. But we all enjoyed a lot because this is also one of the very unique experience for all of us, including that girl. And she communicated well, and she even she is in continuous contact of myself, and she used to communicate me via different modes, and we used to use Google translators and all that. But the conclusion is we are living in a very modern age. There is nothing which is impossible, and if you are still unable to speak English, you can still join us, and we will facilitate you as much as we can. We still used to have different moderators, and we used to have different delegates from all around the world. We have French people who can speak French, the people who can speak Spanish, Arabic, Urdu, Hindi, and English above all. So it is very it used to be very amazing environment in our summit, and everyone feel to be equal part, and they used to be as much as equal as we all are. So the conclusion is, if you are unable to speak English, don't worry, just make a apply and we will see the rest. Thank you.
Thank you so much for clarifying. I totally agree with you as well. I mean, like, it should never be a barrier for someone that should stop someone from trying to do what they like or what they love to do. For example, also, we all know that you have this like interest in peace and promotion of human rights and activism. So in order to have also this interest, you need to have like a background, you need to have an idea before, you have an experience before that, something that really encouraged you to be a peace builder, to, you know, like, so the question is, what is the motivation for you to be a peace builder? What was, like, as if the button that you pressed, like, hey, as if you woke up one day in the morning, like, hey, I just want to be an activist, I want to be a peace builder. So what was that exactly?
So in my case, I have many inflection points, but started when I was young. One that stood out with me is when in Argentina there are so many inequalities in terms of wealth. Like, you go out, as in many other parts of the world, you know, but when you go out and you see the indigenous people from my hometown, literally, you know, like sleeping on the floor, and then you see people with so much, or even I remember a story like when I was in California, I studied there, and California is such a rich state, and they have this car concourse, where car tournament, that they put a red carpet and the Ferraris on top. So that kind of contrast, I was like coming from a trip in my hometown, and then I went straight to California, and just seeing those contrasts in a really short time frame. I was looking at pictures I have taken from both places in my phone, and seeing those contexts, you know, those harsh differences. I was saying something is wrong in the world, and people need to stop naturalizing those realities. So there's always for me emotions linked to those social inequalities that in me really awakens every single part of me to do something. So I have these wake up calls or these inflection points in my life that really makes me commit, because I feel I have a lot of responsibility. And when I attended the Peace Summit, speaking to each of the delegates, each of them comes with a very specific story to that summit. And that's amazing, because even though we are all like youth activists or young people, very committed to social change, when you have this dialogue and start like asking them, hey, what's your story? How did you become a youth activist, or why are you here? Context is everything for me. So getting to know all these stories that in some way they relate to I think it's beautiful, is so inspiring. After the summit, I'm so motivated. I'm gonna double effort home or where you are, and really say.
I think we lost the connection. Okay, so Mariana, would you like to add something to that?
Yes, of course. I think in my case, the like the most important word I would say it's responsibility. As I said when I introduced myself, I come from a place in the world that has like a really strong label. You when you say, oh yeah, you're from Colombia, people have immediately an idea of what kind of situation you live. And I think life and conflicts in general are not that as easy to understand. So for me it was like, okay, I in my life I've been experiencing a lot of opportunities that not all the people in my country have, and I have a responsibility because of that, because we should all have good responsibilities, good opportunities to understand the others and to understand how realities work. So for me it was more about that. It was a responsibility with my country, with my own context, with the people that surround me. But then when I went to the summit in Kurdistan, my mind and my projects changed so much, because even if I'm still like very interested in understanding the Colombian situation and in building peace in Colombia, I understood and I realized that problems of conflict and of violence don't know about the frontiers or borders, and a lot of people all around the world are suffering. So it's worth problems that people have to deal every day to get good tools and build peace in your own territory and also in other territories. So my interest as a Colombian woman with a lot of opportunities, it's about knowing which good practices or which not that good practices are happening all around the world in order to be able to make the change in my territory, in my context.
Okay. As for me personally, I come from Darfur, which is a conflict also zone area in Sudan, and I grew up in the capital city. But then that also didn't make me like forget the whole thing. Like nobody would forget their backgrounds. So we face a lot of discrimination, war, like for almost now 10 years. And so the issues are lack of education, and so we're never treated as equal as others. So I know it sounds a little bit too much into details, but this was one of the reasons why I just thought like maybe I would be able to make a change, even if not for the whole region. Like at least I would be able to help some of my brothers and sisters back there, like with education opportunities or everything that would just assist to push the system a little bit in order to help the process in building a little bit of a peace community there. And yeah, I know it's going to be a long process, but at least like it's just going to be a matter of a try. So this is a different question right now for you guys. So from your experience, from your previous experiences as delegates with Global Peace Chain, what would you advise the people who are trying to apply for the Global Peace Chain Summit in Turkey right now? And I also would like to ask also Mr. Kamran Zafar, as the executive director, what would he also advise applicants who are trying to apply for the Global Peace Change Summit in Turkey?
Thank you so much, Hajar. Actually, this was the main question I was concerned about, because I always wanted to speak on this. As being the chairman of selection board, I always wanted to teach my applicants that what should they do in order to get shortlisted. Because I have seen, and in fact, we all the board have seen a lot of mistakes during the application form. For example, I will discuss each one on step by one by one. So first of all, your profile picture. First of all, your profile picture. We have observed that people are using the filtered form of their pictures. I mean, what is this? They used to download their picture from Snapchat or some other Instagram, the filter form of their profile picture, and paste it on our application form. Wait, man, what? You are going to apply on an international forum. Your picture should be the professional one. So I usually recommend people to post a picture of headshot one. It should be could be in the form of headshot or a portrait one, and the quality of picture should be the perfect one. I mean, you should use a professional camera in order to get your picture. This is not the case of my organization. This is not the case of Global Peace Chain only. This is the case for the whole world. If you are going to apply for any job, if you are going to apply for any kind of scholarship, and if you are going to submit some kind of CV, you should post your professional picture. And this is a very important point, because the organization is not going to select you if you are using the picture with cat filters and dog filters. I mean, you can't expect that we are going to post that picture on our poster, and we are not going to ruin our Facebook timeline with your this kind of picture. So I request and I suggest all of you people, those who are viewers and those who will watch this stream yard after the session, please post a professional picture, one thing, and also try to rename your picture, because I have seen that people used to download their picture from Instagram or Facebook, and the caption and the name of that picture used to be FB underscore image underscore 928. No, this is not going to happen. You have to rename the picture with, like, if your name is John, you can rename the picture like john.pdf form. That's it. That should be the professional way in order to submit your picture, number one. And the next part is your email address. Email address. For example, what is this cute.girl@gmail.com? What is this dreamboy@gmail.com? What is this bikerboy@gmail.com? Please do not use this kind of email, and try to make a email with professional address, and try to submit that email address. So this was the few which were very important points I always wanted to tell my applicants. And after this, you can see what is the next point. Yeah, the next point is we are going to select our applicants on the basis of three things. The number one is your motivation letter. That what, like you recently asked the few motivation question from Valentina and Mariana, and they elaborated very well. This is the motivation one should have. Like, why are you motivated to attend the conference of Global Peace Chain only? Why not the other conference? Why are you motivated to work on SDG number 16? There should be some kind of motivation, and you have to describe that motivation brilliantly, effectively, so that the man who is reading your profile and who is reading your statement of purpose should be impressed by your vision. It is not necessarily that you must have experience of many years in social sector. No, if you are the newcomer, that is fine, but your vision should be clear, your vision should be broad, and you should be really motivated in order to make the difference in the society, and especially in the field of peace, because we are working on the SDGs number 16, which says peace, strong institutions, and justice. You have to be very visionary regarding the subject of justice, because for example, you can mention a few things which are happening in the world in the very injustice way. Your vision should be clear about that thing, that you are very motivated in order to resist that part. So this is one thing. This is your motivation in order to attend any kind of conference. I'm not explaining these things just for the sake of Global Peace Chain. Even if you are going to apply for any other conference, first of all, make some R&D, research and development, that what exactly this organization is doing. If the organization is working for education, you should be motivated for the education purpose. If this organization is specifically for the gender equality, working on the basis of gender equality, you must have some motivation, you must have some vision in order to remove that difference. So this is a very strong tip. This was one question, and the other question is about your biography. So we are not interested to listen that how many brothers and sisters you have. The biography means that you should mention all the relevant things that you have done in your life. Like if you are involved in any kind of non-government organization, if you are involved in any kind of social service, you must have mentioned that thing. If you have already attended any of the international conference, you must have to share that experience. And if you are attached with any international organization, especially if you are the part of global peace chain, you must mention that thing, because it will, no doubt, it will give you a positive point, because those people, we clearly know who uh, most active in any country, that this person is quite active in order to achieve the vision of any organization, no matter if it is a global peace chain or any other organization. I am saying global peace chain for this reason, because I know each and every member of myself, of my organization, so that I can have better idea about that specific person. So you are requested to must mention your association with global peace chain. If you are not a member, you can still be the part of our organization. If you are not the member right now, you can apply later and be try to be the part of organization. This is, I'm giving you a very brilliant trick. This is one of the best trick, that be the part of global peace chain, have some activities, show us your capability, you show us your motivation, show us your competency, and we will obviously give you some positive marks. So these were the two questions on the basis of which we are going to shortlist our candidate. And one more important thing is, you should have a look on our application form. You will see that we have asked about your Facebook link. So one must understand that why they are asking for my Facebook link. There must be some reason, because we are going to stalk your profile. We are going to stalk your timeline, that how much active are you, whether the things you have mentioned in your application form, is that synchronized with your Facebook timeline. For example, if a man says that I have attended this conference, I have attended this conference, I am doing this much social work, so your Facebook and your LinkedIn or any of the social media link which you have provided should be the evidence of that activities. So this is a cross check. We used to cross check your profile. So these are few things you have to be concerned about these things. So yes, Hajar.
Thank you so much. And that was like a full coverage. That was absolutely clear. And I'm 100% sure there were a lot of people who were questioning those questions about the application tips, and that's just perfect.
I must confess one thing. Your profile picture, your profile picture which you used in the application form of Global Peace Summit Ukraine was fantastic. I might appreciate that.
Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. Thank you. So Valentina and Mariana, do you have something also to add? Just like as a previous experience from the application process.
Yes, Azar, I totally agree with Cameron just said. I think it's very important, each point he mentioned, but I will also add, to be specific, like all of us are very passionate about the world, very, committed to the sustainable development goals, but it's important to mention what the person did, where, when, in which way that person contributed to peace building or whatever they did, because otherwise all these words may end up being quite vague. So be specific, be context specific, tell your story, because as I was saying, each of us comes with a very specific path to that summit, and it's important to say that, and also make sure that you tell in the application what you can offer, because it's not only about what you can get, from meeting all those people and getting a wonderful experience, but it's also what you can offer. So make sure you highlight that, and also make sure to keep in mind that it's not only about the summit itself, it's about a whole experience that goes beyond the formal meetings, because you are going to have cultural experiences, like having some field visits. So you have to be aware of the cultural component itself of the experience, which is quite high. So make sure you highlight that you adapt to new culture, you want to get to know new cultures. And also you may give it a try. You can propose something. For example, I remember that when I applied, I said that for me, it's not about just the summit itself, it's what comes after the summit, like keeping this network alive and, you know, keep being in touch with all these people after the summit, because we are a network. We keep connected. We have people from all over the world, and it's not like the summit happens and that's it. No, there is a lot of work after that, and make sure you highlight your commitment to that as well.
I would like just to add that it's very important to be honest and to be unique. I totally agree with everything that Cameron and Valentina said, but I would like also to add that being honest about who you are and also understanding and appreciating what you have done and what are you up to, it's very, very important, because as Valentina said, we all have very special stories, and you don't have to be like a victim of something very big or something like that. Just understand who you are, and as Hager asked us, what is your interested, what is your motivation to be a peace builder. And with that, I think you all can create a very powerful story. So it's very important to understand that.
That's great. Awesome. I'm just gonna say that we have two important questions that have just now popped into us. One was saying that I saw that we need to pay some fees before filling up the form. What if we don't get selected? Would you like to answer that one, Mr. Cameron? Or?
Yeah. This is the most common question we used to receive from different people. First of all, let me clear one thing, which is this is just the application processing fee. I repeat, this is not the registration fee, but application processing fee. I mean, the fee which is going to be used in the whole process of your selection or rejection. Let me explain why. First of all, we used to market our event. The organization used to pay something. Okay, one part. Then we used to hire different departments, the communication department, the marketing department, and many other departments who used to be in contact with all of the applicants. We used to pay the money. Then even the application form itself, it is a paid version. So this also involves some kind of finance in itself. Then we are going to have some kind of shortlisting procedure. In short, each and every steps, there must be inclusion of some kind of finances. So the organization is going to finance your trip if you are fully selected, but this is not going to sponsor the processing part of this whole procedure. So you have to self-sponsor this part in order to apply. So this is very clear point. So that is why, because in order, if you are rejected, that doesn't mean your processing is not, your application is not processed, but your application was processed, but you were unfortunately not at your application unfortunately was not up to that mark to get shortlisted. So technically the organization is not bounded to refund the fees. So in short, the answer of this question is no. The application fee is non-refundable, and this is clearly mentioned in each and every advertisement of our Global Peace Summit. It is clearly mentioned in our website as well. It is clearly mentioned in the application form itself.
Okay, good. We also have another one, which is, I think, the last one. What will be your measures of for prevention of spreading coronavirus in your upcoming conference?
Again, this is one of the most common question we are receiving day by day. Actually, the concern is, I can say the concern is genuine, but don't think that, do you think that organization have rejected that perspective in order to organize our event? No, not at all. We have done our whole R&D, research and development, and we came across to different parameters to check whether the venue is safe enough to gather all the people from around the world. And we have our ample planning in order to get rid of this pandemic to be increased. We will also have walk through gates. We will also provide sanitizer and face mask to each and every applicant of ourselves, not in the conference, but also the rooms in which we are going to have our delegates to get stay in. And but the most important positive thing is, if you go and visit the facts and figures of Turkey itself, the situation is quite amazing. Turkey have resolved the pandemic situation, pandemic thing in a very effective manner. The numbers are quite fantastic. I think the active cases are not more than 8,000, I guess. I'm not sure, but I was visiting their website few days back. The average, the average of the patient which they are getting day by day is not more than 100, I guess. So technically, the situation is quite comfortable, and we will also take this thing into our consideration as we move close to the summit date. So you don't need to be worried. The organization is competent enough to take these things into consideration.
All the precautions are taken. That's amazing. I think we're coming to an end, basically. So I think we're going to have to close right now. And I would like to thank you all one more time. I would like to thank our executive director, Mr. Kamran Zafar, for having time to join us today. And also I'd like to thank you, Valentina and Mariana. And to our director also behind the scene, thank you so much for supporting us with all the technical support. And yeah, I think we're come to an end. And one more time, please, guys, don't forget to apply for the Global Peace Change Summit Turkey this year. And the deadline is approaching in 14 days, the 30th of August 2020. And I wish you all the best, guys. And yeah, good luck on your application and your future plans.
I also admire the content which Valentina and Mariana elaborated. They elaborated very brilliantly that how you should submit your application, the motivation part. And thank you so much, Valentina and Mariana, to elaborate that in a very efficient way, I think. And I believe that that would be very helpful for our applicant. And at last, I want to say that if you are, this is for my viewers, if you are still have some kind of confusion or query, you can write us to our email address. You can find our email address in this caption. And if you are still confused, you can also send us a message via our Facebook page, this page in which you are watching us live or offline. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this invitation.
Okay.
Apply, don't hesitate, apply.
Yes.